Hey, welcome. It's Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th here. And this is an episode of the Sports Barn. We've got the NFL playoffs, all 6 games for you here, picks on all of them. For you political people, there's an episode of the Politics Barn up at Rumble. The URL is in the comments. Main thing we talk about there is the appointment of this special counsel to investigate Joe Biden. I'm sorry for laughing, but it's a joke because, look, for those of you that think this is some kind of Democrat on Democrat crime, that the Democrats, that Obama is greasing the skids to get rid of Biden, and this is the way he's doing it, it's possible, but I highly doubt that if that's what they were going to do, this is how they would do it. It just seems too messy, too unpredictable, too public to do it this way. Remember when they got rid of Nixon, who was coming off maybe the biggest blowout in electoral history in 72. The Republicans had just run the table in 72. They lost in 76. Gerald Ford lost in 76, largely because of the blowback from Watergate. That you force a president out due to scandal, that's unpredictable. That may blow back on the Democrats. So to think that the Democrats are instigating this with an idea of removing Biden to replace him with a better, more winnable candidate for 24, I don't think that's likely. I think what's going on here is simply it's going to be a fake investigation to protect Biden. For one thing, anytime the House Republicans ask for documents pertaining to basically anything, the answer is going to be, oh, we gave those to the special counsel. We can't give them to both of you. We gave them to the special counsel. They're in charge. So it's a way to try to neuter the House Republicans. It's a fake investigation, I believe, that will ultimately exonerate and inoculate the president. So, but at any rate, there, you don't even need to go to Rumble now. You just heard the whole damn thing. What's up first here? The Niners, Seahawks. Well, I don't know. I looked at my preseason predictions just to see how we did, because I know I picked the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl, and here they are, the number 1 seed. And I picked the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl as well, and they're the number 1 seed. So I felt pretty good about that. And then I looked at the against the spread records of the Eagles and the Chiefs, and they're both at or below 500. So I felt kind of sad about that in a way. It's almost like, I guess you just have to do these things week to week, and you can't just ride a team based on whether you think they're the best team or not. So, I guess what am I saying here as it pertains to this game? I don't know. Clearly, to me right now, in the NFC, the Niners are the best team. I don't think, if the Eagles play these guys in Philadelphia, the Niners are going to kick their ass. That's my feeling. I know my brother right now is going, "You're wrong! You're just stupid!" I don't know. I just don't think anybody's beating these 49ers. Brock Purdy or no Brock Purdy. One thought process on the Niners is, oh, who have they played? Who have they played? This has happened before, believe it or not. There's precedence for this. Do you know that the last and only undefeated team, the year they went perfect, the 1972 Dolphins, went into the Super Bowl as a pick'em or an underdog? You can look it up, as Casey Stengel said. You can look it up. And you're saying, how is that possible? How could you be undefeated and be a pick'em or an underdog? That's crazy. Well, they hadn't played all that many tough teams. The conventional wisdom was all the tough teams that year were in the NFC. And the Dolphins really just hadn't played. They beat the Steelers, but they weren't the Steelers yet. So people thought the Redskins had played a tougher schedule and were as good, if not better, than the Dolphins. Well, you all saw what happened. The Dolphins dominated them because the Dolphins were a great team. And that's kind of how I feel about the Niners. It doesn't matter who they're playing. This is a good team. I mean, a really good team. In my preseason speech, I said this is probably the best team in the league, except they're insisting, on God knows what reason, playing Trey Lance. Well, they took care of that. Or the injury gods took care of that. No more Trey Lance. And then they lost Garoppolo. And here now they got this other guy they're plugging in, and I guess he's just good enough. You know, he may be better than just good enough because they're kicking the shit out of people. If you were going to make a case for the Seahawks, you would say, this is a divisional game. Maybe these tend to be a little closer than normal, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. This is, the Niners right now are a freight train I don't care a step in front of. The Seahawks just played an overtime game against a divisional opponent that to get in the playoffs, you know, a must-win game against a not very good Rams team, and they had to go to overtime to beat them. I don't think Seattle's very good. I really don't. This feels like the Niners should win this game rather easily. So we're going to take the Niners, lay to 9.5. Feel happy that you don't have to go all the way to 10, and I think you're pretty much on the side of the Angels here with the Niners at minus 9.5. Then the night game. This is a touchy one. I looked at it initially and I kind of felt, this just feels like a spot for Doug, a spot for Doug Peterson. And I talked myself out of that, and I may regret it. I just think the Chargers are significantly better than the Jaguars. I know the Jaguars beat these guys pretty badly out in San Diego in Week 3. Look, the key to the Chargers is two teams. Jekyll, Hyde. Jekyll, Hyde. When they're at home, they're Mr. Hyde. They're terrible. They suck. They don't have a home fan base. I think the team knows it. It makes them sad. They lose. When they go on the road, maybe it's just us against the world, and they play better, and they cover numbers on the road. The Chargers do. So here they're on the road. I think at this point in their careers, Hebert is significantly better than Lawrence. Lawrence had a play against the Titans that was just, it was horrifying. I mean, where here the playoffs are in the balance. It's a third down play to put your team ahead and ultimately probably send them into the playoffs. And he missed a wide open guy in the end zone by not inches, not feet, like 10 feet, 20 feet. He threw the ball in the stands practically. It was a throw that you and I could have made. And he just whipped that thing right in the stands. It was kind of like, that was horrible. What were you doing? Did you just panic? Did you choke? What? Well, both, I guess. So they got lucky to beat the Titans. They should have lost. I think the Chargers are significantly better here than the Jaguars. We're going to say the Jaguars had their emotional peak last week, and now it's the Chargers' time to show what they got. We're going to take the Chargers here, lay the 2.5 on the road. Then we go to Sunday. We got the Bills in Miami. I mean, for whatever reason, the networks tortured us with the Bills, Jets, or not the Bills, the Dolphins Jets game last Sunday. And horrible. I mean, I don't know how the Dolphins would score in this game. I mean, they can't get out of their own way with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. The only business they got done was when they were hammering it up the middle with Raheem Mostert, who then broke his thumb. So you're not going to see him Sunday. The Dolphins just have a mess of injuries, and the Bills are healthy. This just feels like a no-contest type game. I just don't see what the Dolphins are going to do. The Bills would just have to turn the ball over again and again and again. And they have a propensity to do that. But I think for the most part, the Bills are going to play an okay game, and that should be more than enough to cover 13.5. The Dolphins aren't going to score. I just don't see how the Dolphins score. They should have lost to the no-offense Jets being led by Joe Flacco. Wasn't he a thing about 15 years ago? And he's still a starting quarterback in the NFL, and he should have beaten these Dolphins. Only a very questionable personal foul at the end of the game allowed the Dolphins to advance. So we're going to go ahead here with the Bills and lay the 13.5. Giants Vikings. This one we kind of went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. These teams just played each other. 3-4 weeks ago in Minnesota. Game could have gone either way. Minnesota pulled it out on a 61-yard field goal. The teams feel pretty even to me. Pretty even. Anybody could have won that game a few weeks ago. The Vikings just have a feel to me like they're looking for a place to fall down. That they peaked, I think, that week at Buffalo with that incredible win at Buffalo, and now they've been kind of slotted in to the 2 or the 3 seed basically since they lost to the Eagles in week 2, and the Eagles refused to lose, and the Vikings have just been too far away from the 1 seed for it to matter, and too good to be out of the playoffs. So they've just been kind of going through the motions, and I think says it feel like the Vikings are looking for a place to fall down. We're going to go ahead and take the points here with the Giants. I think it's possible the Vikings could win this game, and we still cover, because every game the Vikings play is tick tight. It's all tight. They win by a field goal. They win by 3, 2, 4, 1. So I think 3 points here could be enough to cover this spread. We'll take the Giants. Bengals, Baltimore. Here I think the right answer is not obvious. We're taking the Ravens. And the reason being, this is a divisional game. Here I actually think this is going to matter, because I think the Ravens are a pretty good team. That they have a really good defense. They're struggling with the quarterback position, so their offense is pretty weak. But they moved the ball last week against the Bengals. Now, I don't know if the Bengals were playing backups. I doubt it. I don't know if they were playing soft because they had a lead. Possible. But the Ravens were able to move the ball pretty easily on the Bengals last weekend. Now, the reason they lost were a lot of turnovers. A lot of stupid play and turnovers. I think it's possible the Ravens play a little cleaner now, second time around. Adjustments get made. They're a little more comfortable with the third-string quarterback, whose name I can't even think of. Anthony something, I think. Is it Anthony Johnson? Is that it? I don't even know. So I think it's possible that they clean things up a little bit, and maybe this game's a little closer than you think it's going to be. Maybe the Bengals only win by 7. Plus, the Bengals want to play the Bills again. I'm sure of that. And win this game, and now they're getting a trip to Buffalo to get their chance at that team that they think they were going to beat before the world ended, NFL-wise, and the game got canceled. So, Bengals looking ahead, Ravens improving off of last week's effort, second time over with the third-string quarterback. Look out, Bengals. I think this game could be tougher than you think it's going to be. We're going to take the points, 9.5. You might even get 10 by game time, I'm thinking, as the money will flood in on the Bengals. That's the way I'm seeing that. I would wait to play this and try to catch 10. But I think the play is the Ravens. Lastly, Monday, Cowboys, Buccaneers. This would probably be a game one of the factors we have here is the look-ahead factor. Now, one of the keys to the look-ahead factor is it may or may not exist by the time this game is played. In other words, the winner of this game will very likely play the Philadelphia Eagles. Unless the Giants win their game, and we think there's a good chance they could. If the Giants win their game, then the winner of this team goes to San Francisco, and I don't think there is a look-ahead factor at that point. But let's say the Vikings win somehow. Now, it's the Vikings and the 49ers, and it'll be the Eagles and the winner of this game. To me, that favors the Bucs in this game, in that the Bucs, I don't think, are all that excited about playing the Eagles. They beat the Eagles twice last year relatively easily. So I don't think the Buccaneers are like, oh yeah, we need to get up for the Eagles. We need to get psyched. We need to watch film. We want the Eagles. The Cowboys now, I think the Cowboys have a hard-on for the Eagles. If no other reason, they sure like to talk about them a lot. So, I think there is something there where the Cowboys might be looking past the Buccaneers, looking at the Eagles. But like I said, that's all going to go away if the Eagles aren't in the factor. If it's going to be the Giants and the Eagles. So, let's see. So pay attention on Sunday to see if the Giants beat the Vikings. Now, if they don't, then I think you're looking at the Bucs here. Tom Brady, big game. How can you go away from it? This guy's done nothing but burn money this year, i.e., he's failed in every game practically all season long. Is against the spread records the worst in the league. This guy has buried bettors all year long. It's been a sucker play all year long to play the Buccaneers. So, are we falling for it? I guess we are. I guess we are. I just, they beat the Cowboys in week 1. It was not close. They dominated the Cowboys. 2 years ago, the teams played in Tampa. It was a very close game. The Buccaneers pulled it out, though. So, why now are the Cowboys, who weren't playing particularly well, why now are they going to beat the Buccaneers in Tampa on their home field as a favorite? The Bucs are getting points. I'm just kind of looking at this going, I've got the best quarterback in the history of the universe, and I'm getting points. Oh man, I mean, if I had a good quarterback, in other words, Tom Brady versus, I don't know, who would I feel comfortable with? That's a good question. I don't know who I'd feel comfortable with going up against Tom Brady. Maybe Mahomes, somebody like that. Somebody that good. Josh Allen, maybe. Joe Burrow, perhaps. Quarterbacks like that. Then I'd probably feel comfortable going against Brady. But Dak Prescott, I'm going to put the money on Dak Prescott. When the money's on the line, we're going to go with Dak Prescott? Come on now. I just can't go there, I don't think. I think we're going to take the points. If the Giants lose and they know the winner of this Monday game faces the Philadelphia Eagles, then I'm thinking you definitely are looking at the Buccaneers at that point. I think that's the way you got to go. Got to take the points, got to take the Buccaneers. So that's what we got here. We got the Niners, we got the Chargers, the Bills, the Giants, the Ravens, and then the Buccaneers. That's what we're playing on the 6 games this season, this NFL Wildcard weekend. And there you have it. So it is written. Well, it's not actually written. So it is said. So it shall be done. Thanks for being here. We'll talk again. Eric Arnold signing off.